I knew early on that we could not build a set for Fredericksburg. And I knew from the get-go we had to, the only place to make that scene work would be Harper's Ferry, because it's the only place left in America with that kind of 19th century scale that's not privately owned. There are towns which are well preserved, but they've got wires on them and parking meters and commerce and industry, and this is not a scene we could shoot in one day. You can shut down towns for a day. It happens, but not when you have a whole battle going through it with explosions and things where we needed to film for at least a week. So the only possibility that existed to do this battle properly was Harper's Ferry.
Going to use Harper's Ferry as the town of Fredericksburg, and then we're going to go to another area and do the battle stuff, which presents another set of problems of just making sure we have the reenactors, how we're going to house them, how we're going to take care of them. So we've got a lot of logistical things we have to really kind of think about and really think through to make sure we have all that covered. And we don't want to let one of those areas down. This is one area of the movie where it's going to really stand out, I think, because it's a very important part of the picture.
The National Park at Harper's Ferry is a real treasure. It's a very unique resource. It's a beautiful place. They have tremendous 19th century buildings there. And it was just the perfect backdrop for what we needed for Fredericksburg. We had a $100 million set there, a $100 million set. And there's no way that we could have replicated what we actually had in terms of an actual piece of history. So it really became critical that we have Harper's Ferry available for our use. The Park Service has never done anything like this at Harper's Ferry. There's been some small films there, there's been videos there, but never has a major motion picture company from Hollywood come in and literally consumed the lower town of Harper's Ferry, and that's what we did. And so we had to do it very sensitively. We had to do it carefully. We had to do it with constant cooperation, and there was an awful lot of give and take. We would meet with the Park Service officials, tell them what we would like to do. They would come back, tell us what we may be able to do, and through this constant communication and cooperation, we were able to arrive at a very good compromise that worked well for both parties.
We had to do the Battle of Fredericksburg, and originally that was conceived of as a set, a complete set, and as time progressed we came to the notion that we didn't have the time or the budget to build the town from scratch, and so we cooked up the idea of fabricating part of the set at Harper's Ferry. And this is a very difficult problem because it's a national monument and we wanted to blow up things. And the Park Service doesn't like when you blow up their national monuments, so we had to really figure out a number of things to do that battle and make that town happen. And it ended up a clever combination of visual effects shots which enhanced the town, the basic town itself, which is wonderful and actually very well preserved, and adding a large number of buildings on Shenandoah Street where there was no town anymore. They had been washed out by flooding, over the years, and there was large empty spaces where we could drop in large empty structures. And basically, because we were able to figure these things out, we could blow up our own stuff rather than their stuff, and everyone was happy. I think we came up with a battle scene that's pretty terrifying, and I think actually it might be the first large-scale bombardment of a civilian town in military history.
And background.
Action!
The fact that we were able to use Harper's Ferry to depict Fredericksburg was a boon for us because we had authentic streets of the period and the time, and the geography was such that we had the inclines and the hills and stuff which weren't 100% accurate, but accurate enough that we were able to utilize them.
Ready and action.
There's guidelines in the national parks where we were restricted to certain things that we could do in shooting our weapons and stuff like that. We didn't have the opportunity to blow buildings up and stuff like we had originally hoped to, so we had to create this illusion, and it was taxing. I mean, a lot of thought went into the process to do this. There were restrictions that we had to figure creatively how to overcome.
1, 2, 1, 2.
But I just gotta worry about how to have guys flop and pop and create the illusion.
Form up, men!
Fredericksburg was basically sort of a guerrilla war in the town that then transfers into the area of Murray's Heights, which is this run on the wall with the Confederates. And what makes the battles always complex is to try to find a sense through them, a visual sense where you progress in the essence of fighting, and at the same time you have to give an audience a feeling of what these people are really up against. My experience with shooting battles is that you're not only moving with the subject, it's very good also to move against the subject. And by mixing up these feelings of going ahead of a subject, going with a subject, and going against the subject, which basically means when he goes forward, you dolly back, and you give it sort of a counter move feeling, you create a sense of progression or degression, which this is all about.
When you hear the command, fall in, go to the position that you're in now and come to attention and order arms, because there will be no time to give the command, attention battalion. Is that understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
We made a lot of contributions in small ways to just little things of historical accuracy. I really feel that when this movie shows, when they see the Battle of Fredericksburg and they see the Federal troops coming towards Murray's Heights and they watch the troop deployments, somebody's going to be able to say to their history class that's studying the Civil War, if you want to see what it really looked like for a battalion to go into a battle line correctly, watch the Battle of Fredericksburg and Gods and Generals, and watch the Union troops go from a column doubled on the center, attack column, into a battle line. And it'll be exact, because it is exact.
And action.
Defense finery.
I think a lot of the reenactors, maybe supposed that this would be just a big reenactor fest. And there were so many actors that had come into this thing that had really, I want to say, no idea of what was going to happen or what this was going to look like. Certainly this was a big piece of work. But the more it got going and the bigger it got, and the more of a challenge it was for everybody. And I think the aging helped. I'm a big fan of that. And I think we used over probably 2,000 pounds of Fuller's Earth on a daily basis through the show. And I think once the actors rode into this mass of reenactors and extras that were all aged down and broken down and dirty and whatever, it gave them, I think, a real insight, perhaps, into how people at the period would actually have felt. And I think it helped the wardrobe people, and it helped everybody, because now we realized we were working on something where, it didn't really matter. You just had to do the best you could, get as dirty as you could, and keep it up as long as you could, because that was it. It was either that or quit. So everybody helped everybody, I think, try to get this thing to really look right.
Hail, Caesar. We who are about to die salute you.
When we were charging up Fredericksburg, the hill, several of us mentioned, there was no acting involved there. We're lucky there are no bullets. The cannons don't really have, anything in them. But you wouldn't know it. We're running up that hill and there's explosions and people flying past you and bullets and guns and cannons going, and it was all, it was directed as like a train wreck. In a good way. Ron just said, and you go up there and then you fall back, and at a certain point, people falling all over each other, crashing, ad-libbing, trying to get the, dress the line, saying things. It was the chaos of war. And in a way, it felt a little like it might have been.
What was a rather exhilarating moment, talking about end of the day, was the end of the Murray's Heights charge by Chamberlain and his company. We were preparing with around 400 or 500 reenactors to do this. When we talked about the look for the battles, we wanted them to not be postcard pretty, and It's hard. It's also, you know, when you're in a real battle, especially in those days, the first shot was fired. It was like a cloud of smoke descended upon this battlefield in no time, because there's so much smoke that comes out of these muskets that, you know, in the real time when you would look at the battle, it was like a cloud of mist descended upon this battlefield for the day, and it would never lift again. And it was a horrifying environment, you know, almost suffocating maybe at times. So that's really the atmosphere that is authentic. The whole environment of that, the flaring of the lenses, the low light, gave a tremendous amount of power and violence to the sequence without showing blood, without, you know, in a very poetic way, I might add, but at the same time also horrifying the image and creating an environment that I thought was spectacular with that particular moment of the charge. So that was a day I walked away and I said, well, we've got it. It's exciting.
They found my old house. Gone. Yankees. Everywhere. Everywhere. Where y'all been? They found my old house. Gone, gone.
Filmmaking is about details. As Lee says in that one scene to Longstreet in the middle of the Battle of Fredericksburg, you must never ignore the unforeseen, the unpredictable. You have to have contingencies. What you really have to do as a producer-director is to make sure you have the very best people around you on the crew. We very successfully pulled off a great urban battle.
Cut.